This is our latest emergency prep video. I hope some of you took the challenge last month to cook from your long-term food storage to see how it can work. This message is on gardening as we follow John Hallen around his garden. So here we go. We are at John Hallen's house and he's going to show us his garden and his chickens.
How you doing, Bruce?
Doing well.
Yeah, we'd love to share. We'd love to show you all what we have here. We actually have raised bed gardens we've had here probably for about 10, 12 years. And we grow what the kids like to grow and eat. So we have a lot of onions, a lot of potatoes, and the potatoes that we have are unique red or purple potatoes, very few white because you can buy those very cheaply at the grocery store. But we grow sweet potatoes, a lot of garlic, celery. The chickens aren't happy that we're having a visitor, so they're a little vocal right now. And big spinach over there. In the greenhouse, we have our tomato and pepper starts that are starting to get ready to be planted in the next few weeks. They're only about that tall. But it's a fun family project. It's a way of not necessarily saving money, I don't think, because I seem to buy a lot of fertilizer and a lot of stuff to make the garden look good and work well. But one thing that works really well with the garden is the chickens. And the chickens have this great fertilizer that's free, and we mix it with straw. And we then mix it into the beds as the soil drops, and it's a lot cheaper way of, instead of buying peat moss and compost, mixing in the chicken manure in the soil. So you can kind of see that those areas in the back over there where the broccoli is kind of lower. That's because they're due to have the chicken manure mixed in with the soil there, and that'll build the soil back up to the top of the beds. But a lot of this wood is reclaimed wood that I picked up from a friend that tore down one of his patio covers. And so we very cheaply built these raised bed boxes. And the walkway, which is kind of filled with weeds right now, is a project we did when we were bored during COVID. So it's a lot less muddy out here because of it.
How do you keep bugs from eating your food?
That's a battle that sometimes you don't win, but we've learned little tricks, and then in the end we sometimes just have to, just before we go on a vacation, do what we call nuke it. You know, we just put 7 or stuff that people typically don't like to use, but we'll do it once or twice a year. But if you do proper
chemicals that you put on them.
Sorry, Bruce?
You're talking about chemicals?
Yeah, we'll sometimes have to use chemicals.
All right.
Typically, though, if you do proper crop rotation, where you're not planting the same plants in the same place, then we seem to have less of an insect problem. We do have what's called a spider mite every single year, and it affects our tomato plants, and that's usually by July, August. The spider mite spins a web and it chokes the plants to death, and they end up dying, mostly tomato plants. But if you're really interested in gardening here in this area, you can't go wrong with pepper plants. Pepper plants, you can't even kill them. You know, you could forget to water them. They seem to continue to thrive and live. So I don't know what else to say, but it's a lot of fun, and you just kind of learn little tricks. When it rains a lot, it really seems to help the garden. One key thing is if the chickens do get out of the pen and get into the garden, they will eat everything. And that's happened a couple times, and it's really disappointing to come home and have the garden pretty much mowed down to nothing. But
how do you water it in the drought years?
So usually we, as you can kind of see, we have the the skeleton of our watering system. And I'll show you that real quick. So this is a pipe that runs underground to two valves that I have. And during usually April, May months, we've got to water, and I do drip system, I don't sprinkle. And so we have these pipes that run above the ground, and they have drilled into them holes every so often, depending on the type of plant that we're watering. Like potato plants will drop a lot more water. Tomato plants will have holes in the pipe that are 1/10 of an inch wide that are directly on the roots of the plant, so there's nothing lost in the air. And this is a Utah State, not University of Utah, but Utah State method that I found on YouTube, ironically. So it seems to work. We've been doing it for a long time. I know Bishop Walker does the same method. And so you lay this pipe throughout the plants, and I'm going to have to lay pipe here within the next week or two. I think we're going to have some more rain, so we probably should be okay. And it's set automatically to turn on a timer with the rest of my lawn in the backyard. So, you can water deeply or more frequently. But the great thing with it is it puts it right into the soil on the roots, so you're not wasting water in the air.
So do you make a row of the pipe, and then you'll have the row of the food right on top of it?
Right, so there's end caps on the ends of these, and I'll lay the pipe through the plants. And this, if you can see this, it has little holes.
Okay.
And those holes will emit water out or straight down. And so you lay the pipe with the holes down,
And they come with the
connect
pre-drilled
it up
holes.
to the main spline there, and
Do they come with pre-drilled holes?
no.
Oh, you
gotta drill a
You
hole.
gotta drill your holes. What can you tell us about the chickens?
Well, like I said, the chickens are the only pet that I have that give back to me, other than the dogs giving us protection. But I love that concept, and not only do they give eggs to us, but they give this great fertilizer. And we're about ready to clean the pen. We're in the middle of remodeling our chicken coop, and with all the rain, we haven't been able to finish painting it. But we've got a bunch of different varieties here, and these are really Nola's chickens, but I love the benefits that it brings. So yeah, I think we've had them for maybe 7-8 years, and about every other spring we'll add a few more to the flock, and we'll lose 4 or 5 every year to whatever little things they get, or they get older. But we don't eat the chickens, and they're kind of our pets. So not only do they give us eggs and give us the fertilizer, but we've given them all names, so you don't really want to eat your pet, so. But we've got Leghorns, which are white chickens that lay white eggs, and that's usually the type of breed that we all have and buy from the grocery store. But we have all these different other varieties, and most of them lay brown, but some of them lay green and blue eggs, and that's kind of fun. But this one right here is a New Hampshire, and that's a California white Leghorn. It's more able to handle the hot summers. That's what's called a production blue in the back, and it lays the biggest egg, massive eggs, about that big. This one here is a black Australorp, and I think it's the oldest one we have, and it's almost 6. So it's not really laying too much anymore.
So you didn't grow up on a farm, you grew up in Redlands.
Grew up in Redlands, but I had family members that always had farms, and always wanted to be Farmer John. So this has become my hobby, and it's expanded a little bit, and we have this ongoing garden that we rotate with different things. So after we're done with the potatoes, we'll have peppers and tomatoes that'll go in. The onions will be picked usually in June-ish, mid-June, and we can grow onions, that big. It's a lot of fun. Garlic the same. It'll start dying out in a month or so, and that's enough garlic for us for a whole year right there.
What would you tell somebody who's a first-time, keep it simple, backyard farmer?
Just go to Home Depot or Lowe's and get a couple plants, a couple tomato plants, a couple pepper plants. Find a space in either your front or backyard, it doesn't matter, and plant them. And it's really that simple. Get a little book, do a little research, watch some YouTube videos, and learn about the different things that you need to do to keep those plants alive. And just start with 4 plants. Peppers and tomatoes are some of the easiest things to grow, especially here. Pepper plants, like I said earlier, you can't kill them. They're great.
What do you get from Tractor Supply up in Calamasa?
What do I get?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the best store ever. It's the greatest. I love going there almost every Saturday. I have an excuse to go to Tractor Supply. But they're just a good source. They're like Lowe's or Home Depot. They have a lot of plants, a lot of seeds, a lot of good.
You get your potatoes from there?
Yeah, I get my seed potatoes every year there. Sometimes we don't eat as many, and we just hang on to the potatoes that we grew, and then they become the seed potatoes for next year. And that's kind of the way you want to try to learn how to perpetuate it without having to have to buy it. But, like I said, I love going to Tractor Supply. So.
All right. Well, John, it's a good interview, and thanks for showing us your garden.
Thanks, Bruce.
All right, thank you very
Always
much.
a pleasure.
Thanks, Brother Hallam. Springtime is a great time to start gardening. Additionally, I've included information on how Brother Bill Polson does his gardening system. So start planning to grow your garden today. Thanks for watching.